Good evening, welcome to the latest live edition of Last Belt Boxing AJ review show. So the card just finished and we thought we'd jump on and give our thoughts. So good evening, Sean.
Evening, guys.
Good evening, Andrew.
Evening, fellas.
So I don't know whether you want to work your way up the card or whether you want to just jump straight in with AJ. I mean, the card wasn't nothing to write home about in my view either. But I don't know whether there's any you want to pick out, Andy. You know, Campbell Hatton, good stoppage. You know?
I don't think either the Jordan Flynn Kane Baker fight. That was probably the best fight of the night. Did you see that, Sean?
Yeah, I thought it was really close as well. I mean, there could be an argument that Kane Baker was hard undone by, really.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, mate. I thought he asked Jordan Flynn a lot of questions, and some of them he answered. Kane Baker's a tough cookie, though, isn't he? That's why he gets brought in for these fights. You know, Eddie Hearn said in the press conference he loves him because he knows his fighters are going to get tested, and that's exactly what happened there. I think the scorecard was 77-75, was it?
Yeah.
Could have easily been a draw. Could have easily gone one round the other way. It's one of them, mate. But Jordan Flynn will learn a lot from that fight. Campbell Hatton, you can clearly see there's improvement in there. What a great body shot as well, by the way. Shades of the old man.
Yep.
So he's now what, 11-0 now? Maybe time to start pushing him a little bit more.
Well, the biggest news of the night was a Lee Wood announcement for me. Obviously, it's going to be Manchester, so you know, different soil. You're going to have Jack Catterall on the card as well, so you know, promises to be a very good night. But it's very interesting what Lee Wood said regarding basically, let's go and have a shootout. Very different to what he was saying for the first fight. So
was it though? Because the first fight, because he did say, "I'm gonna come and stand in the middle of the ring and trade."
But he talked about a game plan, didn't he? You know, he talked about a game plan, and you know, I had been doing analysis. Whereas this time, he just says, "I'm gonna meet him in the middle of the ring and we'll have a shootout." So I think it will be. I think he generally means. I think he's gonna go for broke on this one. I think it's going to be a case who lands first. So it promises to be a very good night. Hence, I've already booked an hotel. So it's all done and dusted.
What do you think about the announcement of it? What do you think about the announcement of it being in Manchester?
Well, obviously the Motorpoint Arena in Nottingham had booked. I'm not quite sure what's on that night because it must be a concert or something. Because obviously Nottingham Panthers shifted their fixture last time. Well, they're Mandy, innit? You know, the fans will travel. It'll be a strong undercard as well. So I mean, you're still in the ring against an opponent, aren't you? It is what it is.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing for me that if they're not, you know, if they're not taking it to Mexico, if it's not been demanded that it's going to Mexico, why not give Lee all the advantage? You know,
well, where would you put it then?
Have the talks at the City Ground stalled?
Obviously, Forest won't play it. There's obviously a reason why Forest aren't hosting it, isn't there?
What about? I don't know, mate. I just don't. It don't sit well with me that it's going all the way to Manchester. I think. I don't know. The crowd makes a big difference to Lee. It always has.
But Carl Froch fought up there, okay, didn't he? He went up there and he had a good following.
I don't doubt Lee. I don't doubt Lee's going to have the following, mate. It's just a long way for people to travel, isn't it?
I'm not sure
is it really necessary? I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
obviously so.
maybe they think maybe Eddie Hearn thinks that it needs to be a bigger arena. That's why they've gone there. Because these closer arenas than Manchester, isn't there? Sheffield, for example.
It's not the size of
I
the
don't know.
MEN, though, is it?
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Maybe he thinks it needs to be a bigger arena. Back to the card. I know you're not really been a big fan of Fabio Wardley over the years, Cole.
No.
What did you
still
think
not.
of his performance tonight?
I thought he'd done what he was supposed to do, to be honest with you. Me and Sean were talking off here. I actually think Fraser Clark will beat Fabio Wardley. I also
What do you
think
think, Sean?
I think David Adelaide beats him as well. I don't know about you, Sean.
Yeah, I actually think the opposite, really. I think Wardley beats them both. I think Wardley's one of those fighters where he gets sort of underrated, really, because of his sort of background. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, he's sort of got the desire and the power and the sort of will to beat them both.
Do you know where he's going to come unstuck, though, Sean? The problem he's got is that he has to take a shot to wake him up in a fight, and someone's going to land on him and knock him out. He's going to get caught cold.
Yeah, I agree. That's part of his faults. But I think with him though is he's one of those fighters that needs a jeopardy, really, because sort of if he knows it's going to be a sort of routine win, you don't really see the best of him. But if he knows someone's coming to beat him, that's when we see the best Fabio Wardley.
I think he's very
Lil
limited.
Penny, you're going to join us on screen, mate?
Might need a link first.
I kind of agree with Sean on this, in that I think he beats David Adelaide easily, because I don't rate David Adelaide one little bit. I like the other fight. I think Fabio's team are being very, very smart to try and get it early. Fraser Clark's still learning his trade in the pro game. I know he's very experienced in the amateurs, blah 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 blah. But the pro game, as everyone says, is completely different, and he's still learning his way. He's had a couple of ridiculously easy fights. You've not really learned a lot from him. He hasn't got the experience in pros that Wardley's got, and I think they're trying to get him at the right time. So if his fight does get made next, and obviously they're dangling the carrot of the British title in front of him, aren't they? That's how they're going to get that fight made. So it probably will happen. But if I was Fraser, I'd say, well, let me have a couple more fights first. Give him a bit more of a test. Maybe a really tough, durable European.
I think he batters Wardley. I think Clark will batter Wardley. And I'm not a massive fan of Clark.
I think it's a very good fight. I think it's a very good fight.
I think it'll be a one side. As soon as Wardley jumps in with anyone active, he's going to get battered.
The fighter that I was really disappointed with the most on the night tonight was Amo Williams.
Yeah,
Struggled,
I thought he was very, very, very average.
Got there in the end, though.
He did, Carl, but he was trying to load up with every single shot. His timing was poor. He was missing. He was overstretching, overreaching, because he was trying to land the big bomb with every shot. Yeah, he got him out there in the end, but you can't do that against better opponents. Even Cash, who I think last time out looked really bad, you can't do that against Cash.
I think Amo Williams is a typical fighter who gets dragged down to his opponent's level. I think he'll look better as he goes up through the levels and fights better opponents. He's obviously got the talent. I just think he gets dragged into the opponent's level of fighting. That's my view.
You're probably right.
Cash.
Lil Penny, how are you, mate?
Hello, guys.
I'm getting that jet lag feeling again, Lil Penny.
I actually predicted AJ to win by unanimous decision.
You did.
Have you got proof?
I think he'll fight Chisora next. Sorry, not Chisora.
Why?
Dillian White.
Yeah.
Dillian White. And I think Dillian White will fight Chisora next. He'll beat Chisora, and then they'll have a rematch. I like that rematch. I actually thought that their first fight was really exciting.
Good evening to Fitz Springer. He said Amo Williams was wild for me, and I have to agree. He wasn't very calculated at all. But seeing as the little penny, seeing as though you've moved on to AJ, we'll roll with that. No, you're all right, pal. You're all right. We'll roll with that. What beforehand? Were you in the camp of AJ needs a devastating performance here to look good? As they kept on saying, they made a massive meal of this New Dawn thing. AJ's now fighting everything on his own, and it's a new start. It's a fresh trainer. He's with the trainer of the year in Derek James. Break down what you think. Initially, Derek James has improved with him, and were you impressed by what you saw from AJ tonight?
I wasn't in the camp of that devastating knockout, blah blah blah, because Franklin is a good opponent. From memory, didn't he nearly beat? He didn't win, but didn't he nearly beat White? Like, yeah, because
split decision once, if I remember.
Yeah, also Franklin, didn't he come in like 20 pounds lighter?
23 pounds lighter.
Yeah, which meant that he took this fight really seriously, which he should, by the way. But I actually think that for Joshua, I actually think that Garcia was I didn't think he gave Garcia that many chances, and also he improved in that Usyk fight too. So I don't know. But look, I like Joshua. I've always been a fan of Anthony Joshua because he goes for the kill, previously, and he gave us a lot of entertaining fights. I just think maybe he just can't beat Usyk. Kind of like Canelo maybe can't beat Bivol. It doesn't mean that he's bad. I still want to see that AJ fight. My God, if he beats White, which I'm expecting to next, he'll probably fight him in the summer for you guys. He'll fight White next. 2024. I want to see that AJ Wilder fight. That's a super fight, man. I like that, especially if AJ also wins against Andy Ruiz, which is next for him. That's going to be a super fight. Like, I reckon that's a bigger fight than the Usyk Fury fight. To be honest,
you might, Lil Penny. You might even get that end of the year.
Oh, I don't. I think he'll fight Dillian White next.
He'll fight Dillian White next in the summer. But he's saying he wants to be out 3 times this year, so he's going to fight again at the end of the year.
I don't know. He's not young anymore. I don't know. That's someone who could 3 fights a year for him. That's someone who's like 28, 27.
You can't hang around though, mate. If he wants to get back to competing for a world title, he's got to be stepping up quick.
That's a winnable fight for AJ. Like Wilder, he took 3 brutal beatings against Fury, right? It's got to take something out of him. It has to, especially that third fight. Damn, that was the second fight also was a brutal one. Like, his ears were Wilder's ears were bleeding, and in the third fight it was bleeding too. I think from memory. So he could win. He could outbox Wilder. He has to stay disciplined. But if Wilder catches him, he's going down. He's not getting up.
So before I come to you, Sean, a couple of comments in the sidebar. Fitz Springer says, AJ had a good performance, did what he had to. I see the improvements with clinching and inside work. Cedric, good evening, Cedric, all the way from Canada. I scored it 117, 111 to Joshua. I gave Franklin rounds 4, 5, and 6. That's moving a bit too quick for me. Hold on a minute. Gave Franklin round 4, 5, and 6 with a few others close rounds. I kind of agree with that, actually, Cedric. I think there was a few close rounds in there. I'll give my opinion shortly, but when I've come back from the guys. Fitzspringer says Franklin was looking for the temple shot with the right hand. AJ showed improvements in dealing with that. Cedric says he's currently in the gym, closing the year 7s around. Good luck that one, Cedric. So, Sean, I'll come to you next, mate. It's a similar question to what I've just posed. Were you impressed with what AJ did? Considering it's his first fight with his new trainer. They've obviously been together a while now, but sometimes these things take a bit of time, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I said so much on social media. Really, I think people forget that he's lost 3 of the last 5, and he's come off a few bad performances, and people sort of made out in the build-up that it was almost do or die if AJ didn't stop him. And I think ultimately the win was the most important thing, obviously, which he got. And I think as time evolves, I think we'll see more from this relationship between the two of them. I think we see 2 or 3 glimpses of what they've been working on. But ultimately, I think the most important thing tonight was AJ winning, which he done. And I wasn't too bored that he didn't stop him, really, because I didn't really expect him to. And as I said so much on social media, once again, I think sort of Joyce, maybe Fury, possibly Wilder, we struggled to look good against Franklin, because I think it's one of those guys that you can't look good against. So I think ultimately the win was the most important thing, and I think AJ's done a good job.
Carl?
Yeah, I had a few concerns tonight. I mean, Anthony Joshua's in a no-win situation. If you blow Franklin away 1, 2, or 3, Franklin's a bum.
Yeah.
If he gets dragged to points, then Joshua hasn't got it anymore. However, I like the inside work tonight. That looked quite good. And I like the way AJ had a bit of spite about it. I did like the bit where he was tapping him on the back of the head at the end of the round. Shows that he's got a bit of spite. Derek James made the point of, they've not been together that long. This is the first fight. They're going to continue to build and build. I think Derek James was very calm. I did like his instructions in between rounds. But I didn't like the way the shots seemed to be bouncing off Franklin. Not once did Franklin seem to be in trouble, and he was getting it clean.
He was.
And that concerns me a little bit. Seemed to be a lot of arm punches rather than loading up on his shots as well. And I'd argue he's possibly a little bit heavy at that weight as well, because a better fighter would have really gave him problems in the championship rounds again. So there's just a few things for me. But overall, the job's done, isn't it? It's a tick in the box. I think he'll fight Dillian White and beat him in the summer. And then who knows about the back end of the year? There's them Fury talks going on again. Fury hasn't got no mandatories. So that could happen, or it could be a Wilder. I think he'll close the year out with a meaningful fight.
That's the heaviest AJ's ever come into a fight. That told me.
Why did it come up 10 pounds heavier? What was the strategy for that?
Well, this is what I was just about to say, Lil Pennant. You can't tell me that he was planning on a 12-round fight coming in at that weight.
No.
He thought he was going to go in there. He was going to land clean, which he did, and take Franklin out, which obviously didn't happen. A couple of concerns from me, same as you, Carl. The things that I really liked about AJ, I thought his jab was excellent tonight.
Yeah,
and that won in the fight. What I wasn't impressed with is his follow-up behind the jab, because he was throwing the jab, which a lot of times was snapping Franklin's head back, and then there was nothing afterwards. Or he'd land a big right hand and nothing afterwards. The AJ of old that we all want back, if he sees that happen to a fighter, he jumps on him and he throws 3 or 4 combinations before he gets out again. That didn't happen tonight. He landed a big shot. He'd look like, I don't think Franklin was massively hurt all night apart from the body shot, but he took a lot of clean shots. And I said on Thursday night, AJ's not a one-punch concussive fighter. No. I don't care what anybody says. He's not. Name me one fighter he's knocked out one punch, apart from the very early days when he was fighting the Journeyman. when he's fought anyone of any level, he hasn't knocked him out with one punch. It's always been a combination, right? So where was the combination tonight? Where was the follow-up? It's as though he was doing the good stuff. The jab was brilliant. Better than I've seen him throw a jab for a long, long, long time. So that's clearly something they've worked on. I thought his defense was loads better. He was much tighter. He didn't take many shots clean. The shots he did take, he took very well. But that was one of my concerns, because if any of these big hitters in the division land them shots, Joshua's in trouble. Because we know that when he's been hit by big people in the past, he's been buzzed and he hasn't known what to do with it. So that concerned me a little bit. But I do think, I agree with Carl, up in the clinch he was much, much, much better. But he did that too often. Every time Franklin came in, he clinched. It was only later on, when Franklin was getting tired, he started using the uppercut. And that was devastating. So he landed a few big uppercuts and then never followed up again. So that's one of my concerns, is what's stopping him from following up? Why isn't he going in for the kill?
Do you think he'll KO White in the rematch? Do you think he'll go for the KO? I don't think so.
No, I don't, mate. If the opportunity shows itself, I mean, he's probably got another 3 months, 4 months possibly, where he's got that time to spend with Derek James again. Let's see what improvements get made. But if he isn't going to do that to Franklin, he isn't going to do that to a bigger puncher.
I reckon White will go for the KO, and he'll probably tire himself out.
Yeah, well, that's White's style, mate. Of course he will. Yeah. But I guess with that presents opportunities to AJ. Because if White's throwing big shots, AJ's going to throw big shots. You know, there's no love lost there. They hate each other at the end of the day. You might find a completely different AJ in that fight. He might want to go out and destroy White again. Because there's bound to be build up like there was last time. It's not going to be nice, it is.
But it's more because Dillian White runs out of gas rather than AJ going for the kill. Like, it's because in their first fight, AJ went for the kill. He actually got clipped in that fight. I think it was in the 3rd or 4th round.
Let's remember how long ago that fight was now as well.
Exactly.
It's a different version now.
AJ is a completely different White. I'm not sure. I said after the Franklin fight that I don't think White had a lot left.
Yeah,
and he looked. I don't know about you lads. I thought White looked very big tonight, like he put quite a bit of weight on.
But he does do that between camps, don't he?
Well, that's dangerous, isn't it?
He does balloon it a little bit.
So I expect AJ will be a bit more aggressive, but I just don't know whether he has that mentality anymore, Lil Penny. No. I just don't know whether he's got it.
No, that's gone.
So Andy Fitzspringer says, in terms of you saying he needs to follow up, that's how he got caught against Ruiz. Why follow up? Franklin would have done the same Ruiz did.
No, those would be different.
No, wouldn't. And you know why wouldn't? Because Franklin's not a hooker. AJ tried to hook with a hooker in the Ruiz fight. Ruiz is one of the best hookers in heavyweight boxing. That's why AJ got caught the way he got caught.
AJ got hit in the temple, like against Ruiz, which made him off balance. Whereas with White, where he got hit with a left hook, same velocity, but it wasn't in the temple. He just got caught in the chin, and he took it, and he recovered, and he knocked White out. Whereas
I hear what Fitz is trying to say. I get what he's saying, but it's a completely different style of fighter. Yes, I think Franklin was going for that overhand right, but not in the same fashion. AJ needs to change his style, because if he carries on fighting like he is still, then he's going to get picked off by the better fighters. Nothing's changed in that sense.
Andy, I don't mind AJ being vulnerable. That's what makes, like, that's why I want to see him.
Yeah,
because he could get knocked out. Like, like Amir Khan, like your guys, because he's from the UK. I like watching Amir Khan because he's such an entertaining fighter. He puts his chin out there because he wants to knock the other guy out. So the reason why I always wanted I've never seen a boring Amir Khan fight. Never. Even his last fight against.
I really enjoy. You know the one I really enjoyed, the Prescott fight. But let's move on to some of the comments on the side.
But you know what I mean? Like, if AJ gets, because AJ's got a lot of big fights still. He's got AJ. That's a big fight. White's not a bad fight. The rematch. He's got Joyce. Even that's a big fight. Fury. Even that's a super fight. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of great fights left in him, and those could be rematches there. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's vulnerable, I want to see that. I want him to go out there, and I don't want him to have a Mayweather strategy where he just runs around the ring. I don't want that, because then he'll lose.
Andy, you're going to pick Dan Evans' comment up?
Personally, can't see the disrespect AJ gets. I still fancy him to beat Wilder. He can certainly give Fury a good fight, too. A lot better than people think.
He can beat Wilder, but I'm going for a Wilder KO.
I think Wilder will knock him out as well. I've always said that.
I'm not. I don't know if you're aiming that at me a little bit, Dan. I'm not disrespecting AJ. I just want to see the aggressive AJ that won him world titles, the aggressive AJ that got him to the position that he was in before he lost to Ruiz. Now, yes, you can say that his aggression in the Ruiz fight caused him the loss, but you can be aggressive without being overly aggressive that you become too vulnerable. The AJ of old was calculated with his shots. And that the AJ from the Ruiz fight wasn't calculated. He just went in swinging and stood in front of Ruiz without, he didn't lay 4 shots in and then take a step back. He stood there in the pocket and traded and traded.
I don't think that AJ exists anymore. I think he's earned too much money. I just don't think it exists anymore.
Carl, just going back to your comment. Remember when AJ was supposed to fight Big Baby Miller? It wasn't even supposed to be Big Baby Miller. It was supposed to be Wilder. Remember, Matchroom offered Wilder $120 million for 3 fights. The first fight was supposed to be whoever he wanted, and the last 2 fights were supposed to be with AJ. The first was supposed to be in London, the second in New York, right? I reckon at that time, say for example, he did actually fight Big Baby Miller and AJ would beat him, right? I actually thought at that time that AJ would beat Wilder because he can outbox Wilder. At that time, right? But now, looking back at it now with everything that's happened, I think Wilder will KO him this time. I don't think AJ
would ever beat Wilder. No matter. No. He's always been susceptible. No. So Dan Evans says it's not aimed at you, Andy. It's regarding Twitter comments, and then he must have been drinking because he's put also that he respects your opinion, Andy.
Appreciate that, Dan.
He must be pissed.
I think with AJ though, I think this win will do him the greatest deal of confidence because I think that's what always sets him back. I think losing back to Usyk has been a big dent in his career, and no doubt it's obviously paid a price in his personal life. And I think this win tonight will do him the greatest deal of good because I think once he's got the confidence and self-belief, I believe he can beat anyone, and I include Tyson Fury in that.
I think his confidence is built on sand, though, Sean. He might tell himself that he's still a killer in the mirror and everything like that, but when it comes to it, when he needs to go in the trenches in a fight, I just don't think it's there anymore.
Again, I agree, but I guess it depends on who he hangs around with. In the past, we've seen people that maybe kiss his backside and blow smoke up his backside. But I think under Derek James and maybe people who he's associated with now, will see people telling him home truths. And, once he gets that self-belief, I believe he can beat anybody.
I just don't think you can give someone that or train that into somebody. I think it's either there or it's not. But it'd
I
be
reckon that
interesting. Next
I reckon that
fight's a vital one for AJ.
I reckon that confidence that he's looking for, where he wants to get that old AJ back, is to get a Ruiz trilogy and knock him out in London. Like knock him out. Knock out Ruiz. I think he'll get his soul back. And then we might get the old AJ back.
Yeah.
I don't think for a second AJ's never called out Ruiz since. I don't think for a second. I don't think for a second he'll go anywhere near Ruiz ever again, because he's felt his power. He's felt. What you got to realize is Ruiz got off the floor to beat AJ. He got off the floor and outboxed him, stood and traded with him, and beat AJ at his own game. That took a lot from AJ that night.
Yeah, it did.
Which is why, and I mean this with all the biggest respect, which is why AJ boxed the way he boxed in the second fight and didn't engage.
Yeah,
he boxed brilliantly, by the way, in that second fight against Ruiz.
And also, Ruiz didn't even train for that rematch either.
Right. Well, that's that's another thing. Ruiz.
Not AJ's fault, though, is it?
No, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
But he should have got him out of there.
A couple of comments from Dan. He thinks that AJ can outbox Wilder.
I don't disagree, but I just think Wilder will land and knock him out.
And then he says, "Do you think Fury will retire?"
No.
I think Fury's damaged his legacy by not agreeing this undisputed fight, lads.
He'll fight him. He'll fight later in the year. I think he's just playing games, guys.
It won't be undisputed, but that fight will happen back end of the year in Saudi.
But that's no good though, Carl, because then that just proves that it was only ever about money.
But it is about money. It is the prize fight. I don't know how many times I've got to say it.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be about money because
it is for them. So it is. So you don't care about the belt.
Tyson Fury's got more money than he can ever spend.
Obviously not enough. You must want more.
It's never going to be enough, then, is it?
Probably not. So he'll keep charging ridiculous money in Saudi Arabia and Wales.
He goes on, with all due respect, mate. He goes on about thinking he's the best heavyweight of all time. He hasn't proved he's the best heavyweight of this era because he's not fought them all.
I've always thought
he probably is, but he hasn't proved it. And he's had an opportunity to be the first ever 4-belt undisputed champion. And he's made life completely impossible for that fight to happen, according to sources. If you believe what's been said and what's been put in socials and all of that it's because of the split that he wants. Even if he loses the first fight, the split he wants for the rematch is the only reason that fight didn't happen.
See, that is bullshit because the rematch wouldn't have even been the undisputed fight, would it? So smoke. No.
But what I mean is, they had to agree the split for the rematch before they could have the first fight.
What I'm trying to say is, from Tyson Fury's perspective, it's a bullshit reason because, like I've said, all 4 belts wouldn't be on the line anyway. So
why not? So if you're that confident that you're going to beat the middleweight, the blown up middleweight, as he keeps on saying, if you're that confident you're going to beat the blown up middleweight, the blown up middleweight's agreed 70-30. Why not just agree anything for the rematch then?
Yeah, well, you'd have to ask him.
I reckon even 7:30 is a little unfair for Fury. For Usyk, because
of course it is, mate.
Of
course it is, I'm completely convinced that the Wilder's camp didn't think Usyk could take the fight at 70-30.
Yeah, I agree.
But he did. He agreed. Okay, fair enough. I'll take it because for Usyk, it's not about the money.
Yeah,
clearly, because he's took 30%. It's about legacy. It's about being a 2-weight undisputed champion. That's all that matters to Usyk. But that's
also, Fury's got to realize he's not a star like AJ. Remember when this fight was supposed to be in Saudi, and Fury wanted, I don't know, didn't he want like 100 million or something, some crazy number? He wanted to be above what AJ got when he fought in Saudi Arabia against Usyk, 1 and 2. and dude, Fury, dude, you're not AJ, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so whatever a Saudi offered you, like, I think they offered him 70 million. I think from memory, I can't remember, and he rejected that because he wanted it to be more than AJ. I think AJ got 75 million, whatever that figure was. But dude, you're not AJ, man. You don't have Hugo Boss.
It's very damaging for his PR, isn't it? You know, he spent the last 5-7 years talking about mental health, etc. And I'm a massive Fury fan, but he can't be a mental health advocate and then start coming out and talking about gappy teeth this and gappy teeth that and all things he's posting on Instagram. It just doesn't stack up, does it?
Hey, I don't think he had mental health issues, to be honest with you. I think he was just disappointed that once he beat Vladimir Klitschko, the English public did not accept him as like a true champion. It was AJ that the English public accepted him. Also, he was going through some drug issues as well. Like I think didn't he get caught like some drug issues and he got suspended for a year or blah blah blah, whatever was happening around that time. And then he just used, like Ryan Garcia and Adrian Broner, he just used this mental health thing as as an excuse, which I have seen also in my work as well. When guys don't want to or girls don't want to do any work, they go to HR and use mental issues as an excuse.
I'm not convinced that's the case at Little Penny. I've got to say, there's one thing I'll never call Tyson Fury out on, and that is that he's not telling the truth about that.
I mean, the weight loss, and you know, he's got to be commended for that weight to turn it around and then jump in with Wilder. And let's be honest with you, it's probably the most dangerous heavyweight around at that stage, wasn't it?
Still
and Fury jumped in with him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't buy into some comments on the side about Usyk would have beat Fury. I don't buy into that. I think there's a bit of emotion behind that, where people are just a bit upset with Fury. I believe,
but they'll fight eventually. Though I don't know, fight them at the end of the evening.
I gave you my prediction. I'm telling you, back end of the year, Saudi Arabia when they put the money up.
Carl, can you drop the link in the sidebar again, mate, for Daz? Lee Brown said Fury speaks the most amount of bollocks in boxing, and that takes some doing. Just while we wait for Daz to come on, a little comment from Dan Evans. Where is it?
Oh, about Lee Wood.
Guys, what do you think of Lee's rematch against Lara heading to Manchester? I know we spoke about this earlier on in the show, but do you want to just drop it again? What you think, Carl? Because obviously Dan wasn't on the link when.
Yeah, my view is that it's still in the ring. It's still against an opponent, so I don't think it really matters where you are. You know, I still think he'll have a good following from Nottingham. There'll be a good undercard as well. So for me, you know, he can't have his entire career fighting at the motor point. Sometimes you've got to travel, haven't you? He's not the world champion at the minute, so I'm sure Lee will pack his gum shield, head up the M6 and do the business. So I don't really see it as a big problem, to be honest.
I like Lara, Bronco Lara.
Lee Brown's put Lara will do the same to Wood again.
Yeah, I think Lee will change tactics in his fight. I said it on his show. I think Lee's, as much as he talked about a game plan last time, I think Lee's gonna just go and fight fire with fire this time. No dragging it late. I think he'll fight fire with fire. I think this is going to be a proper shootout this time.
Well,
Daz,
like that.
Daz, if you're still in the sidebar, mate, Cole's just dropped the link in there. Just click on the link and it'll bring you onto the show.
You know, one thing I like about British fighters, they're not slick fighters where they run around in the ring. They actually are very entertaining. Like they throw punches, they let their hands go. Whereas like some of these American fighters, they're like slick. Like,
well, I was on a Canadian boxing show last night, Little Penny. I did say we've got the best promoters, we've got the best fighters, we've definitely got the best fans in the UK. And not that I'm biased, but I'll stand by that.
I don't know about the best fighters.
Yeah, we are.
And if by magic, we have one of the best trainers just joined you on the show as well.
Why,
mate?
Where's Adam Booth?
Oh, he does.
don't know about that. You're right. I don't know about that. All right, mate. You.
Yeah, good. Have you had a chance to see the AJ fight?
I've just literally watched it.
Right. Okay. So we've all had an opinion on what we think about the fight, what we think about the way AJ approached it. Break down how you think the fight panned out for you. Was it how you thought it was going to be? And did AJ give you enough tonight?
I'm a bit. I think my feet a bit behind.
Yeah, I think you might be a little bit behind us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you there, Swede? It's like Eurovision Song Contest, isn't it? When you're going to get the technical issues.
I'm just gonna go out and I'll come back in.
Okay, mate.
No worries.
Carl, England definitely has the best fans. I don't know about
look, it's a done deal. You can't convince me.
No, because I remember those Ricky Hatton, Mayweather, Hatton, Pacquiao. My God, like
Yeah.
you can. The Larry Merchant was talking on the mic with he couldn't even hear himself. Like he kept because the Hatton fans were like saying that there's only one Ricky Hatton, and it's so loud.
Yeah, don't finish the rest of that song off because it's a bit of swearing and it's a family show.
Because I was at the I've been to an MGM Grand fight. I went to the Canelo Mayweather fight, and it's quite that stadium is quite like when you hear noise, you can really hear it. Like, and for those guys to have like drums and trumpets, like there's no. I reckon Mexican fans are pretty good too. But yeah, English fans in terms of atmosphere, the best in boxing, the best.
Daz, are you with us?
Any better?
Yeah, mate.
Great stuff.
Right.
Okay. I'll ask you the question again in case you didn't get it that first time. We've all had our opinions on AJ tonight. Give us your breakdown of the fight, and do you think AJ showed us enough?
Can you hear us?
Can you get that, Daz?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting, Daz, because you got Lil Penny all the way in New Zealand and his Wi-Fi sound. You're about 15 mile up road, and I feel like you're pedaling.
He's proper struggling tonight, and he bless him.
Yeah.
Can he hear it? Maybe his volume.
Or he's on the wind up, one or the other.
Yeah, he's not on the wind up.
I don't.
He's definitely struggling.
Can he hear? I don't think he can hear us.
I don't know.
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, just talk.
Yeah, I can hear you. It just seems to be catching. It's not catching up.
It's a bit like Andy in real life. Bit slow.
Send it. Can you send link to me email?
Oh, Daz, you turn into a diva. Yeah, I'll do it now.
Fury. Stipulation.
Send me an email and I'll try and come in that way.
All right, then.
I'm going to just disappear off here then for 1 minute. All right, Andy, I'll leave it with you for a minute.
So, a couple of comments. Dan says, I really hope Lee wins, but I think Laura does him again. And then Carl commented, Lee will knock him out. And then Dan's put, Laura isn't getting knocked out. Thoughts on that, Sean?
Yeah, I can see both sides. I guess with Lara, I think Lee would probably gave him his best shots in the first fight, and Lara come through those. So I guess it's hard to see how Lee will stop Lara, but I think we saw with Lara he stopped Woods. So I think for me the favourite would be Maurizio Lara.
Lil Penny?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like it reminds me of when Donaire fought in a way the first time. Donaire gave him everything, right? And Inoue took it. And in fact, Donaire broke his jaw or something like that. I don't know, but he still came back. And in the rematch, you saw what happened. Inoue knocked him out, I think in the third round or something like that. I think the same thing will happen here. Yeah, I think his chin is really good, man. Like, and he can punch as well. I think Lara is the best 126 fighter out there, to be honest.
There's one thing I want to say, guys, and that is no matter what happens in this rematch, in my opinion, Lee Wood goes down in folklore in Nottingham, and he should be going down in folklore in boxing in general, because he is fighting the best of the best. And he got knocked out cold by the best of the best, and he's gone back in with the best of the best. That's old school. That's going back to the 80s and the 90s. That's
having bollocks. That's what that is. It's having
proper,
bollocks.
It's proper boxing, Carl. That's what boxing should
bollocks.
be. That's a man trying to better himself and be the very best in the world. That's what that is.
Yeah.
How many fighters avoid fighters and duck them and go down different governing body? Lee Wood
if Lee Wood miraculously beats Lara, I reckon he's better than.
That's a bit insulting to say miraculously.
I reckon he's better than the Cobra in terms of Nottingham fighters. What do you think? What do you think? No.
What you're the line to fight, little penny.
That's a big call, little penny, because Carl Froch had 12 world title fights in a row.
I was just testing the waters.
How many world title holders do you have from New Zealand? Answers on a postcard, not many.
Hey, he nearly be
We probably had more in Nottingham than you have in your country.
What about Tua? In the late 80s.
Well, that's one.
Daz, can you hear us any better now?
I can hear you, mate. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely, pal.
Right. Email's the way forward.
Right.
Forward.
What I was trying to get across to you was we've all had our say on AJ tonight. Give us your breakdown of how you think the fight went, and did AJ do enough for you?
I've literally come in and watched. I've been out in Boozer with Mrs. Just come up and watched it. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I still don't like what I see. I don't, honestly. And he used his jab, but there was nothing behind it.
Yeah.
I quite liked his jab. I thought his jab improved tonight.
Hey, listen, the jab was good, but it doesn't mean anything if there's nothing behind it.
There was no combination following it, was there?
Where was the right hand? He was pouring with the jab. Where was the right hand left hook after it? When he threw a solid jab, where was the right hand?
And he was asking for that, wasn't he? Derek James was asking for that right hand all night, wasn't he?
I think he's gun shy, mate. I think he's got some confidence issues. And an alarming thing as well, he did start to do it a little bit. His head was really static.
Yeah.
There were no head movement. He was taking a little step, as they pointed out on commentary. He was taking a little step to his right to change the angle, but he wasn't doing anything on that change.
No.
It's like, what's he changing angle for? To have a better look?
Yeah, I was disappointed. I was impressed. I was impressed with the improvement on the jab. I was impressed with his clinch work, but there was too much of it. I was impressed that when he got into that position, he knew what to do a bit more, because he hasn't been able to do that in the past. He hasn't known what to do when he's got up close like that.
Yeah.
He had. I mean, give Franklin his due. Franklin took AJ's big shots.
I think Franklin's a little bit better than we gave him credit for.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Franklin, when Franklin was slipping them AJ shots, if he'd have stepped in with the slip, it could have been a different fight.
Yeah.
Do you think he's too heavy at that weight, Daz? He looked like he was struggling a bit in the championship rounds to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably a little bit too heavy than what he's probably his ideal weight. But I think he's got confidence issues. I really do. I mean, I stand by I'll watch it again tomorrow, but I stand by the fact that behind that jab, if he put that right hand in with left hook, he probably could have got him out of there.
This
Yeah.
probably means absolutely nothing. But did you notice that when they went to AJ's changing room, like seconds before they were coming out, he was wearing that white t-shirt and he got blood all over it. And then within the first round of the fight, his nose is pouring.
Do you think
What's going on there?
Derek James has smacked him with pad?
Yeah, something like that's happened, Daz.
Do you know what as well, mate? What I did notice, and it's a bit alarming. Listen, Derek James has got a proven track record. Derek James would probably look and think, at my opinion, and think, who's this guy? What does he know? But I find it very alarming when he goes back to end at corner. He goes back to corner, end at first round, and Derek James says 1 down, 11 to go. Or maybe not.
Right. I didn't hear that.
Yeah, if you watch it back, mate, he says, 1 down, 11 to go. Or maybe not. Was the plan? You know, what's that about?
That's giving a bit of a dodgy message to AJ, that, isn't it?
You know, it's like, you know, and then AJ, I think he said something else, and AJ like went, round back, you know, 1 round at a time, sort of thing. I don't know, mate. I don't like that sort of talk in a corner.
Yeah.
I think, you know, what is it? Is that the plan? Was the plan to go 12?
If it was, Daz, why come in so heavy?
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
that's his all-time heaviest weight.
Exactly, mate. I just think, you know, if you watch it back, mate, and you'll hear what he says. He actually says, you know, 1 round down, 11 to go, and then he sort of has a little bit of a pause, and then says, or maybe not. It's like, you know, I mean, listen, let's be right. AJ's a unit. AJ's got tools. AJ's got hand speed for his size. He's got power. You know, why are you not utilizing that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
You should be getting people like Franklin out there for me. If he's talking about getting back to world honours, you should be getting him out there.
The thing is, mate, it's like, even if he doesn't knock him out, even if he doesn't stop him himself, he should be doing that much of a job on him, making Franklin's corner make a decision.
Yeah.
And say, listen, he's took too much.
Yeah, I said earlier, Daz. I said earlier on when I was giving my breakdown that AJ's jab was working really well, and he was snapping Franklin's head back, but then not following up.
Yeah, why? The jab is the key. The jab unlocks the door for everything else for me. You guys know I'm a big believer in everything off the jab.
Yeah.
You know, obviously these situations where you don't use your jab and other things can come into play. But the way Anthony used his jab, why have you not put the right hand behind it? You know, why have you not put the right hand left up behind it? You know, why?
Even that time, Daz, in the fight with that big body shot, you could physically see that hurt Franklin, but he never followed up.
No, I mean that's it. Why?
Daz, I don't think he believes in his chin there, because if he follows up with the right hand, he could get countered. I don't think he believes in his chin as he did back in the past.
Yeah, I don't think he believes in himself. Full stop, mate. I think he's got a big crisis of confidence. Whether that's on his chin, whether that's on his fitness, I don't know. I think
Franklin's not a big puncher though. Like for
good job,
AJ
really.
to be concerned.
Good job.
I was saying
he got quite a bit, Daz, didn't it, AJ tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's so much he could have done off of that jab. So much he could have done. You know, he could have gone jab, double jab, right hand. He could have gone left up to body. He could have gone jab. He could have used his uppercut, a bit of a sweeping uppercut. Listen, throw your uppercut, aim for solar plexus. If it misses solar plexus, it's landing under chin. If it lands on solar plexus, great. you know,
Yeah.
keep, you know, and then he can, you know, can be a bit at range,
He
but
did throw the odd uppercut, didn't he? The odd one on the
he seemed
inside.
to want to throw him when they were inside, though.
Yeah.
You know, and do you know what he did do and all? And I sort of like were quite impressed with it, but it missed. He threw a bit of a lead left hook, and it
Yeah.
sort of reminded me. I can't remember what round he did it in, but he sort of threw a lead left hook, and I thought it sort of reminded me. It sort of reminded me that he's got quick hands for a big guy.
Yes.
Mm.
You know, it's like use your tools. Do you know what I mean? It just seems really like he's got a bit of a crisis at the minute. And it's a shame because, you know, he's a very, very good fighter.
Daz, Daz, I felt like AJ really listened to what Vlad was Vladimir Klitschko was like advising him. Like, I think from memory, Vlad told him to be careful, like kind of like what he did when in his career when he got knocked out. He started,
Yeah.
whereas he should have listened to someone like Lennox Lewis, who got knocked out twice and still came back as aggressive as ever.
Same fighter, yeah.
You know
He
what I
ain't
mean?
good
Like,
enough, though, is he? He ain't good.
Absolutely.
He ain't. What's the reason why Klitschko went so defensive? Because he was getting teed off on and getting beaten.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
So he had to adapt to
Yeah,
his
spot
strengths.
on
Where
point. I mean,
he ain't good enough to do what Lennox Lewis does.
no. I mean, but do you know what? It's like I always remember, you know, Lennox fighting Andrew Galotta, and Galotta was an absolute beast. It was crazy. It's crazy,
Animal.
absolute beast. And Lennox was like, I think Lennox sort of said in an interview after, a few years after, he put the fear in me. That guy, he was unpredictable, powerful, fast, everything. He says, and I just went out there and thought, right, let's see how good you are when you're getting it put on you. And I think Lennox smashed him to bits, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
You can't compare Anthony to Lennox. To me, no. I mean, I'm a big Fury fan, but Lennox were a different breed.
Oh, Lennox is top 5 all time, mate.
Yeah, Lennox were a different breed. I just think that, you know, listening, you know, to someone saying, you know, be a bit cautious, be a bit. I mean, even Vladimir, he put his punches together still, even though he were cautious, he still put them together. You know, he threw that right hand. I mean, quite a bit after the jab. You know, he worked off the jab a lot more, but he did work off the jab. And Anthony there seemed to be a bit, I don't know, it don't fill me with confidence.
Well, he's not in with a world beater, is he? He's in with Jermaine Franklin. That's another concern as well. When you work up through them levels.
Yeah, I'll give Jermaine Franklin his due. I think Jermaine Franklin's a bit better than what he's had credit for, though.
Yeah,
I think Jermaine Franklin's a bit better than what he's had credit for, but you know, I was looking at it and thinking, I think Joe Joyce walks through Franklin and stops him.
Yeah.
You know, Franklin to me reminds me a bit of a cruiserweight with nice skills who's a bit overweight, so he's fighting at heavyweight.
He looked very small in there tonight, didn't he?
Yeah, there were massive size difference, weren't they? I mean,
hey, Daz, let's see how AJ looks against White to see if he can knock him out. If he can't, that means that he's like, if he can't knock out White, who he knocked out in their first fight, well, that means that AJ is damaged goods if he can't knock out White, because White's damaged good himself.
Yeah, I think maybe Dillian White's going to look at that and think,
Fancy it.
I'm going to put it on him. If I put it on him, because I think he's plain to see that AJ's a little bit mentally fragile.
Yeah.
In a boxing room.
Yeah.
So to me, if I were training Dillian White, I say, listen.
Yeah, go for it.
Go on, Sean, jump in. You've been trying to jump in, fella.
Yeah, sorry, Sean.
Yeah, right. I think I said it earlier. I think, you know, AJ lost 3 of his last 5 fights. So I think today ultimately was only about getting the win. And I think under Derek James, if of course he wants to proceed with him as his trainer, I think we'll ultimately see AJ sort of develop his skills and ultimately grow in confidence. I think the trouble with AJ he's got is his reputation before has always been a sort of killer and a knockout merchant. But I think now he sort of needs to rebuild his confidence and ultimately come back with a good few wins, and then we'll see him on, I don't know, 6 or 12 months under Derek James, because at the end of the day, he's only, 34, 35. Heavyweights ultimately are the best in the later 30s. So I think AJ's got the time and the ability. It's just if people sort of persevere with that time frame, and then we'll see how he is then.
I think you've got a problem matchmaking him though, Sean, because inevitably it's gonna come up against. I don't think he belongs at the top table anymore. I don't believe Derek James will change that. So Eddie Hearn's got to be quite smart in matchmaking him, because for me, this is his last rodeo, isn't it? Let's be honest, he can't rebuild again.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's only so many fights he can sell the O2L, isn't there? So he's going to have to progress sort of at speed of sorts. But I think we can afford maybe 2 or 3 fights, and then let's see where he is this time next year, really.
The thing for me is, if AJ is gun shy, then he's in a world of pain when it comes to the very best, because he isn't outboxing Tyson Fury. If he can't lay his shots off, he isn't going to deter Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce will walk him down. Who else? Deontay Wilder. If he can't deter Deontay Wilder again, Deontay Wilder's going to walk forward and land the big bomb. We've all seen AJ's not the most difficult fighter to win, is he? You know, Franklin landed on him a number of times. Look how small Franklin is compared to him. So when you put someone that's as tall as him, if not taller, in Deontay Wilder, that's very athletic and covers the ground really quickly, he's not the best boxer. Let's be right. I've always said that. He doesn't fight behind the jab, but what he does is he covers a massive space really quickly. He's got really long arms, springs like a basketball player in a sense, because he covers that so much ground really quick. And before AJ knows it, that right hand's going to be landing. And with that lack of head movement, that's what makes me think nowadays that he gets knocked out clean by Deontay Wilder. So if he can't do any of those things, if he can't be aggressive, and he's not good enough to beat Fury boxing, then what's left for him? Because like Cole just said, maybe you don't belong at the top table anymore for that reason.
Hey, Andy, why doesn't Matchroom match AJ with someone like Lucas Brown, who can really knock out, get him the taste of?
What's the point though, mate? Lucas
You don't like Lucas Brown, there. You must not like Lucas Brown.
Oh, Brazil, Dominic Brazil.
He's already.
You might as well let him with Fabio Ward if you're going to do that.
Yeah. Do you know the thing is with it? Sean's got it's a really good point that AJ is going to improve, you know, under Derek James, but and obviously AJ's reputation before, you know, was as a killer, you know, a destroyer. Also, again, I'm a big believer you can be a destroyer, but do it intelligently. You don't have to just go in and swing like you're outside a nightclub after 10 pints.
Like the Ruiz fight.
Yeah, you know, he just was. I mean, I'm sure Derek James is like quite he likes a bit aggression, doesn't he? You know,
Yeah.
And I'm sure Derek James in his mind is thinking should have been throwing that right hand left hook after them jabs. He didn't. The plain fact for me is Anthony didn't work enough after the jab.
No,
you know, the jab landed. It was landing, so that's the key. You've unlocked the door. Put a foot through it. Do you know what I mean? It's like
I said earlier though, Dad. The thing that worried me was that Joshua was landing on him, Franklin, quite clean, and the shots were bouncing off him.
One shot at a time, though, weren't it?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
And from what I watched, you know, it's sort of like, you know, he'd land a shot, And I thought, he threw that backhand, the lead backhand quite a few times and landed it. And I thought, he's got a chin. But if on some replays, Franklin, even a couple of inches, just took a little bit of sting out of it.
Yeah.
Saw it coming, took a bit of sting out of it. Now, there's a big difference. If Joshua lands a double jab, right hand, he might take the sting out of the double jab and right hand, but throw the left up behind it. It's a whole new set of problems.
Hey, Daz, maybe it'll take a couple of fights because I remember when Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez, and then he fought Bradley the second time. You could tell the difference between Bradley 1 and Bradley 2, right? That Pacquiao was very, very hesitant in that Bradley rematch. In fact, Bradley was telling me, "Come in," like and Manny wasn't doing that. He was always fainting, right? But the trilogy.
Surely we're not comparing AJ's.
No. I'm just talking about the theory. But in the trilogy, right after Pacquiao had a few more fights under his belt, where the trilogy with Bradley, you could tell the difference between the Bradley rematch and the Bradley trilogy. Pacquiao was throwing more punches, and he was what you're saying, Daz, is when he threw the jab, he would follow it up with an intelligent left hand, right? Not like he was before he fought like in the Bradley one, but at least because Pacquiao knows that he might get knocked out, right? So he did it intelligently. That's what Daz is trying to say.
I think AJ's in danger. I think AJ's in danger of being caught between two styles. There's a reason why he fought like he did in the early days, and that's because he's not technically good enough to be a boxer. He's more of a knockout artist, if you will. Has he got the technical ability to adopt Derek James' style? When you think about his other fighters, Errol Spence, Charlo, very good technical fighters. Is AJ good enough? We're going to find out, aren't we?
Yeah, I mean, I do think he's got some technical ability. I do think he's got that. But I didn't like. There were two things that alarmed me tonight. He didn't work enough after the jab had landed, and his head were too static.
Yep,
far too static. And he's gonna come unstuck again if he fights like that against Joe. Let's say, I know it's talk about Dillian White next, but is that? I mean, I don't really want to see that. To be fair,
I don't either.
I do.
Be a dreadful fight.
Yeah, I've no interest in that whatsoever. But at the same time, if I'm Eddie and I don't really want to put him in with Joe Joyce either.
No chance.
I don't want to put him in. I definitely don't want to put him in with Wilder next. But then again,
that's what I talk about. Matchmaking does. It's a difficult gig with him, isn't it?
Yeah, but then again, if you don't put him in with them, and then you put him in with, I don't know, a couple. Yeah, I mean, Ergovich must fancy that. Watching that.
Ergovich was dreadful against Zhang, though, mate.
It wasn't great. No, it weren't great, to be fair. But to be fair, mate, on that performance tonight, AJ's has got a bigger target on him now.
Oh, loads of people are going to want the fight, which is probably good for AJ because it means he's going to have a pick. I actually quite like the Dillian White rematch for one reason, and that is that Dillian White's going to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure it will, because I think Dillian White's on the slide massively.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I think he is as well, Carl, but he'll get up for the AJ fight because he hates him.
I don't think he's got out left. I don't think he's got out left in the tank, Dillian White.
Oh, he'll have some for AJ, that's for sure.
This is a retirement. If it happens, it's a retirement fund for Dillian White. AJ will take care of him either.
To be fair, if AJ boxes Dillian White like that, behind the jab, picks him, and I think AJ will stop Dillian.
Yeah.
If he fights like that. I mean, can Dillian ask enough questions? Who knows? But we've got to think as well. To me, I mean, AJ's lost. He's lost to one of the elite heavyweights in Usyk. I don't get this rebuilding. You know what I mean? I don't understand it because I think your tactics were wrong against Usyk.
Yep.
You know, for me, the way you box, your tactics were wrong. You know, you should have used your attributes.
Yeah, big man.
The problem is though, and I think you've already touched on it, Daz. If he's mentally frail,
I think he's got a crisis of confidence, mate. I really do.
I think the damage for Joshua was done way before the two Usyk fights.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Ruiz.
But not just Ruiz. I think the Klitschko fight damaged him as well.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time. It's the first time he'd been put down.
Yeah.
It's the first time he got that little inkling in his brain. Oh shit, I'm vulnerable.
I mean, when you look at the fact that Tyson Fury played about with Vladimir Klitschko, basically
in his own backyard,
basically we toyed with him, and that was a better Klitschko than the one that fought.
That was a boring fight, though.
It was.
That's because Tyson Fury dealt with him.
Yeah,
he didn't know. Klitschko didn't know what to do,
and then he's fought a Klitschko. Joshua's fought a Klitschko who's not fought for 2 years and had life and death basically.
Yeah.
Hey, what was
Let's
that?
be honest, a younger Klitschko would have finished. Even if Vitaly would have finished, him that night.
Yeah.
And then, lads, let's not forget what happened the fight after the Klitschko fight. Who did he fight after that?
Parker, wasn't it?
Joe Parker. And look how he fought that fight. He didn't engage.
Yeah, correct. He was hesitant. And Joe Parker doesn't have. He's not renowned for his power either. Like, you know,
AJ didn't want to know in that fight.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get involved. So, in my opinion, that's where it all started off. And then you follow that up with the loss against Ruiz, and that just can't. That confirms what he might have been thinking.
Andy, maybe Vlad gave him that chip that is saying what's on. Remember, Vlad was saying what's on this chip. Maybe he gave it to AJ, and then found out I don't know, But yeah, I agree with you. That Vladimir Klitschko fight, that knockdown that he took after, because I remember he knocked him down, and then at the end of that round, Vlad was the one that was winning that round. Like, what the hell? What's going on here? Yeah. And then then the next round, Vlad knocked him down, and good for AJ that he recovered and knocked him out. But yeah, that fight was very exciting. By the way,
I think Cole said it at the time. We sat and watched it in Cole's living room, and he said at the time, if Klitschko had anything left, if he'd have been the Klitschko of 4 years earlier, he would have stopped AJ.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Let's not forget though that AJ was still almost a relatively novice fighter as a pro in that Klitschko fight. So really, he showed a lot of hearts and guts.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he did.
And then right.
Has he got any better though, Sean?
Yeah, that's the point I guess I'm making. It sort of made him and broke him at the same time, if you see what I mean, because ultimately since then he's shown his run abilities, but also he hasn't really proven that he can go above that level. So I think ultimately that was the rise and down.
Let's be honest, Sean, he was given a gift to win that Charles Martin the world title belt of Charles Martin. When that was a gift.
Yeah,
even someone like Daniel Dubois.
I was just gonna say a few people have pointed out to me in past, and I tend to sort of agree. He was probably world heavyweight champion too soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
16th fight.
It's the fact that like Cole just said. I mean, if you're going to fight for a world heavyweight title, out of who were out there at the time, you want Charles Martin, don't you?
The Prince.
His resume is not really that great, is it?
No.
Yeah.
AJ's got the best resume.
He's got the best resume of any heavyweight.
He hasn't got. So who's he fought? Who's elite?
Klitschko?
No, too old.
Well,
you've got a point.
Cole, you've got a point that the people that he's fought,
He's got a better resume than Fury.
he has.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
apart from the
Yeah.
Wilder fight.
He has. He's got a
Apart
better
from the
resume
Wilder
than.
fight.
Yeah,
So
he's got
and he's got a better resume than anyone in heavyweight boxing. But I hear what you're saying, Cole. In the people that he's fought when he's fought them that have been elite boxers in the past have been past the best. I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
but he's
On
still
paper, he
he's
has
still got
got-
a better resume than the rest.
yeah, on paper he has, yeah. But he's sort of the ones like Klitschko he's got at the right time.
Yeah.
Kubrat Pulev,
Yeah.
he was
I
way
mean,
past his best.
yeah.
But he fought a lot of these guys who were already who at that time were undefeated. Like White was undefeated, right? Brazil was undefeated from memory, right? Like,
Yeah, but they're hardly top tier fighters, are there? I mean, the one thing Tyson Fury's resume is not great, but the Fury fight stands out for me from both of their resumes.
I mean, I think Tyson Fury's resume for how high he's regarded is terrible.
It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not great,
I'm just pointing out the Wilder fight
And
because that's the best
Yeah.
out of either of them, in
And
my view.
I'm one of Tyson's biggest fans, but his resume is terrible.
If you look at Tyson Fury's resume, if you're saying who's AJ fought that's elite, well, you can say the same thing about Tyson
Wilder.
Fury. Wilder's the
Wilder.
only one.
Yeah, one more than AJ though.
The thing
AJ's fought more fighters that have been at the next
Not
level.
elite. At the level down, I agree, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying it sticks out a mile, that Wilder fight, where
Yeah,
you generally
Fury-
got two at the top table in the ring.
Fury fought a man in Wilder that no one wanted to fight. Let's be
No.
honest.
And
So-
played with him 3 times, let's be honest.
Yeah, you got to give Fury absolute credit for that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, and he
Because
changed his-
AJ would have had the opportunity to jump in with Wilder, wouldn't he? Let's be honest.
I think he did.
Yeah.
He did. You know, before Tyson fought him the first time.
Yeah.
I think it
And
was
also, Tyson doesn't get enough credit for changing his style against Wilder, because Tyson Fury was renowned as like a boring fighter, but
Yeah.
in that Wilder trilogy,
Second
this is
fight, he was
one of the
imposing.
most exciting heavyweight
was
fights
imposing,
you could
yeah.
ever see.
I think Tyson basically he did what should have happened to Anthony when Anthony fought Klitschko. He's took. I mean, listen, whether Klitschko's past his best or not, he's got a sledgehammer of a punch still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's basically took that shot, gone down, got off the floor to win against one of the best heavyweights of the past generation. So instead of taking and then obviously Tyson Fury has nearly got decapitated by one of the biggest punchers heavyweight boxing's ever seen, and got up. And I think after the fight, AJ's sort of bowed to vulnerability, whereas Tyson's thought, listen, he couldn't keep me down. He ain't keeping me down. No one's keeping me down. So I think they've took that little negative in a fight and reacted to it different.
Yeah.
Well, he's got on record as saying that, hasn't he? When he did in that first fight, when he got knocked down, when he actually got up and put it on Wilder into the rest of the round.
Yeah.
And he reckons that's where he realised what the right style was to beat Wilder.
Yeah. Mate, let's be right. How has he got up from that?
Don't know.
Yeah, didn't Freddie Roach said at the end of that fight that Tyson, you should be bullying this guy like this because you're like twice as big as him. Remember? Because I remember Freddie Roach was in that corner.
I did hear something about that. But I don't know. I mean, I know Ricky Hatton was in the corner as well, weren't they? Were it Ben Davis and Ricky Hatton and Freddie Roach?
Yeah. It was very strange watching Freddie Roach stand there and not contribute.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I mean, listen. Ben Davison's a very good trainer.
Yes.
You know, you can't deny that. Ben Davison's a very good trainer, but you know, it's like you've got to take things from. You've got to sit down and listen to Freddie Roach, aren't you?
I'm sure. Yeah, but I'm sure that happened before the fight. I'm sure that happened in camp, and I'm sure that it happened in the changing room. But both Freddie Roach and Ricky Hatton, they were both very, very respectful to Ben Davison in the corner.
Yeah.
A lot of coaches, and Ben Davison's bad for doing this himself. He did it tonight. in the Fabio Wardley corner. He's not Fabio Wardley's trainer,
Yeah.
but he was brought in because he's helped with game planning and stuff for Fabio Wardley.
Yeah.
Halfway through that fight, he took over and he was giving Fabio Wardley instruction, and that's not right.
No, mate, he did it. I pointed it out on Thursday. He did it with Billy Joe Saunders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Tibbs was like
that was a debacle. That corner was a
Hey,
debacle.
listen. Let's be fair, right? Listen, Ben Davison, he knows his stuff, you know, and he's thinking, but he's had already established fighters. You know what I mean? He's not took anybody from nothing and trained.
He hasn't took anyone from nothing, but I would argue.
Yeah, no bad with Lee Wood though, as he does.
You what, mate?
He didn't do bad with Lee Wood.
Yeah,
Lee Wood.
I was just back.
What I'm saying is, when I say he's had established fighters, and it's a lot easier to have an. Listen, I've done the same thing with Nicola, mate. I'm not gonna lie. She's already got a skill set. Do you know what I mean? And all I've done, I take no credit for most of the stuff she does. I've just added little things to it. And when Lee Wood, let's be right, Lee Wood's has always been a very, very good fighter.
Yeah.
So it was just a case of tweaking stuff, things that probably your trainer you've been with for a long time, you can get a bit stale, can't you? And probably take eye off at ball, not notice things, and you can have outside, guys off on outside. They may notice things, that I can, he probably should tweak that, probably should be doing that, probably should be doing this. So he's tweaked a few things, and he's took Lee to another level. I
mean, for all we know, there was a conversation with Fabio Wardley's trainer prior to the fight, where the trainer might have said to Ben Davison, "Look, if you see something that I'm not picking up on, jump in."
Yeah, well, I'll tell you my response to that. And I've been in corners where I've noticed something on fighters, and the trainer who I've been passing up for hasn't. You tell the trainer.
Yeah.
You're undermining them, aren't you, Dad? You're undermining them.
Yeah, you don't tell the fighter, you tell the trainer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. It's happened a few times, to be fair, but there were. I think it was one with Joe Hughes. Joe Hughes fought Gavin McDonnell.
Yeah.
And I was passing up. I was Clinic Gum Shield for that one. Me, Mike White, and Scott Kalo was in the corner, and I think it was just something daft. Like I noticed that not Joe Hughes, Nathan Kirk. Sorry, not Joe Hughes. It was Nathan Kirk that were fighting Gavin McDonnell, and I just noticed Nathan I think he were working with his jab 1-2, and then he were a bit static, and then allowing Gavin to really outwork him. And I just you notice things that you think, he probably needs to work, and then take a little step back, half a step back, because Gavin's working, and then make him fall short and then work again. So I tell Michael, then tell Scott. Do you know what I mean? It's like this. If he'd have been in corner, if I'd have jumped straight on ring apron and started telling it to Nathan, it's like, well, come on. And it don't look good to the fighter either for me. That,
Yeah, the fighter probably maybe loses a little bit of respect for his own coach at that point.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, your fighter's got to have 100% belief in you, hasn't he? You've got to portray what you want that fighter to be. You've got to portray confidence. You've got to portray, calmness. And if some of the geezers getting up on ring apron and basically undermine it, it's not great.
Yeah, that reminds me when what's his name, when Tank Davis was fighting and Mayweather was still his promoter, and Mayweather was barking out orders to Tank, and Tank was like undermining his own coach. Which you,
Yeah,
which,
the
which
worst
means-
one, little Penner. The worst one's Eubank Senior when
Oh,
Adam
God,
Booth
yeah.
was training Eubank Junior.
Yeah.
Was
I mean,
At
Dave
least, like,
Caldwell? Was
uh,
Dave
uh,
Caldwell in Gavin McDonald's corner that night?
is what, sorry?
Was Dave Caldwell in Gavin McDonald's corner?
I don't know if Steffi was in there, I
Steffi
think.
Bull.
Yeah. I don't know if Steffi was in there. And Ray Doyle, I think Ray was in there with him as well, with
Right.
Gavin. I think I'm not sure whether Dave were more his manager at one point, but yeah, I remember it because I mean Nathan acquitted himself really well.
hey, Dad. So you mentioned Nicola before. Can I get your take on Katie Taylor versus Cameron fight in? I think it's in May.
Who wins?
Yeah, who in Ireland?
Chantel Cameron for me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
At
Chantel-
140 pounds, right?
yeah, she's
Yeah.
as long as I think we had this conversation, didn't we, on a couple of Thursdays ago. My point is, I mean, I think it was some guys in the sidebar said that Chantel should basically meet her in middle at ring and throw with her, stand with her and throw with her because she's bigger. My point on that is Chantel Cameron's got a very good skill set, very, very good skill set. So it's like, if the banking, I think the point was, guys, weren't it, that they were saying that Katie Taylor might fade, she might not have enough left.
Yeah.
And I said, right, if I'm Chantel Cameron's trainer and I tell her to go out and basically stand and throw with Katie Taylor, then what happens if Katie Taylor has got enough left? It's making it closer than it needs to be for me.
Yeah.
You're not
Katie-
playing to your strengths, are you?
Yeah, Katie Taylor's hittable, isn't she? You know, what I mean?
Yeah.
Not exactly elusive. So I think if Chantel Cameron, uses her skills, then I think Chantel Cameron wins.
Katie Taylor doesn't have a reputation of gassing out. Like even in Amanda Serrano, she didn't gas out there. In fact, she won those later rounds.
I'm not saying the fact that she's going to gas out. I mean, she's had a lot of hard fights.
Yes,
And-
yes.
And when I watched, I mean, it was on the other day actually, the Serrano fight, and Katie Taylor was, she looked in trouble in six.
Yeah, she
So
was.
far that was.
She
So
looked
far.
she looked in trouble. And it's like, I think, well, if you're going to think, well, yeah, she might fade. She's had a lot of hard fights. She might get old in this fight. That's what I was saying. If she doesn't, you give it. You play it into Katie's hands.
I think, and there's no. I think don't think there's any argument here, Daz, that we're talking about this fight being in Ireland. Chantel Cameron needs to be winning rounds very clearly or stopping her to win the fight.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she should. Yeah, I mean, and I think if she uses a skill set, I mean, she's very skillful, and she's the bigger woman as well.
Yeah.
I've said it a number of times on the channel, mate, and I'll keep on saying it, even though I'm sounding like a broken record. I think Chantel Cameron is the best female fighter in Britain, and I've been saying it for some time.
Whoa! That's what I did last time. Yeah, she's very good, mate. Very, very good.
That's funny. He said Madonin. He said Madonin the other day at the show.
Yeah, mate, he will do. He
Deny.
will do. He'll be
That's
saying,
right.
I bet you he's saying, you beat that Nicola Oatwell.
Yeah, he did.
My personal.
He had me take it out of the video, Dad. He said, you need to scrub that from the interview. I went, okay, look, you're the boss.
Here he goes again with his big wooden spoon.
I've never had to edit a video so much, Dad. Never had to edit a video so much.
Crazy, mate, isn't it?
Behave
Crazy.
yourself. My personal opinion is
got
that
more faces than Big Ben.
my personal opinion, little Penny, is that when Amanda Serrano pulled out through injury, they panicked about who to get to replace her, being this massive fight in Ireland. They thought, well, I tell you what we can do. Katie Taylor can move up a weight and fight for the undisputed titles. I think they're making a massive, massive mistake.
What I tell you what though,
She's
What
fought there
happened?
before, though.
what happens
Guess
if she
you catch
pulls it
her.
off?
Oh, she pulls it off, then
Wow.
then she's the best female fighter of all time, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean,
She already is.
Yeah. Oh, you can argue that.
I mean, her resume is way better than Clarissa Shields. Like,
Lucy
Yeah, but
Ryker.
if you look at what they've both achieved,
Yeah.
if you look at what Clarissa Shields has achieved, the argument there is she's won more than Katie Taylor.
I think
yeah,
by
but
the
it's the
time-
opponents that count for me.
Yeah,
it's
but
not
by
like
the time Shields is finished, though, little penny. By the time Shields is finished, 'cause remember she's got a lot more of her career to go. I think she'll be classed as the best female of all time. Is my view.
But right now, I think Katie Taylor's got a better resume than her
Well, she's a
resume is
trailblazer,
better.
isn't she? She's a trailblazer, to be honest.
Yeah, of course. I'm not taking anything away from a little penny at all. You know, she's outstanding in what she's achieved. But my opinion is right now, Matchroom are making, and Katie Taylor, if she's chosen Chantel Cameron, is making a really big mistake. We haven't seen the best of Chantel Cameron.
Who had the better performance against McCaskill, Katie Taylor or Cameron?
Chantel Cameron.
Okay.
She played with her. Katie Taylor had a bit of a barnstormer. Katie Taylor won the last few rounds to win the fight clearly, but the rounds were close.
She's been in there with a big punch at 142. Remember Katie Taylor fought that Argentinian girl? Now that was a close fight, right? I thought Katie did enough.
Yeah.
But she's not like, this isn't foreign to her at
It's not
140.
foreign to her, mate, but she's fought her whole career at the weight below, apart from that one fight.
And also,
And
level
we're
of
talking about a Katie Taylor that's right at the very end of her career now.
Yeah,
We're not talking about a fresh Katie Taylor.
everything points to Katie Taylor's slowing down, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Everything now, past couple of performances, everything now points to the fact that
Yeah.
she's slowing down. I
two
tell you
major
what,
Combinations are slower now. It's slower.
If she
I was
wins-
just about to say the two major things is she doesn't throw off as many punches as she used to, and she
Yeah.
gets it a lot cleaner
yeah,
than she
she's
used
not
to.
as elusive as she used to
No.
be. She's not as quick in and out with her feet either.
Yeah.
And you
Uh,
could argue there's a few factors here. I'll use the word facet so late on a Saturday night, Sunday morning. The fact that female boxing is getting better as well. So you've got Katie Taylor slowing up and female boxers are getting better and better and better and more technical. So you got, it's a perfect storm, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd sort of agree with that. I mean, I remember watching a girl called Lucy Ryker, if you remember her. Dutch girl. She was very, very, very good back in '90s. And then I mean, you had Christy Martin. You've heard of Christy Martin, haven't you? Christy Martin were a bit of a. She liked to fight. She weren't.
Yeah, like the
She
two.
weren't overly skillful. But yeah, Lucy Ryker was like one of the first women I watched, and I thought, she fought like a man. She was skillful. Used her skills. Layla Ali, I think Layla Ali was very underrated.
Yeah.
She was very good.
If she'd not have been Muhammad Ali's daughter, and in that shadow, then I think the other girl, I think she was a bit of a powerhouse. Anne Wolf, can you remember her?
Yeah.
She's training now.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she was a powerhouse. I think she's got one of highlight reel KOs on that you see on YouTube. She knocked, if I remember her name, Vonda Ward, really tall girl, blonde, and Anne Wolf like literally poleaxed her. It was like.
What's the name of that girl that Bridges fought? She's English. Her highlight reels are pretty good too. The
Which one?
KO highlight.
Shannon Court there, no?
Yeah, Courtney. That's it.
Yeah, I mean Courtney's. I'm not a massive fan of Shannon Courtney, if I'm honest. She's all right, but I think if Ebony Bridges fought her now, Ebony Bridges would beat her. She's by all accounts, she's quite powerful. She can, she's got a decent punch on her. But I just think that women's boxing, there's not that many they've got a really, really great skill set.
No.
You know, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
if you've got that skill set, I think you can look levels above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's why the Amanda Serrano 7 weight or 8.
Unbelievable what Amanda Serrano's achieved.
yeah, I mean
But those people,
crazy.
the girls that she fought, like in those early days, man, who are they? Like,
They'll have been way overmatched, won't they? They'll have been not, you know.
yeah,
But she's still got in there. She's still
That's
and
the only
she
thing
still
into it.
won.
Amanda Serrano's, she's going to get penalised for that fact, little Penny. You know, people are going to say, "Well, yeah, you won those 7-weight world titles, but who did you fight winning them?" And it's not fair because she beat who was there to be beat. So
Yeah.
she deserves credit for that, if nothing else.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap this up, guys, because it's 20 past 1 in the morning. I need to get some beauty sleep before the gym tomorrow. So, anything else you want to cover before we bring it to a close? Daz, anything you want to bring up?
No,
before we
mate,
bring it to a close?
no. Covered,
Sean,
No.
see, little Penny, you've got an advantage because what time is it where you are?
lunchtime. But
yeah.
I do have something to say. I'm gonna make a bold prediction, right? I think Ryan Garcia might knock out Tank Davis, and he becomes the next face of boxing. That's my bold statement.
Well, I think
Do
we've
you
had
know what?
that conversation up another time because it's
I don't think it's beyond realms of possibility.
I don't either.
No, I don't think
I
it
don't.
will happen, but I won't be overly. It's not one of them where me jawed it for if it did happen.
Yeah.
He's got
And
he's got the
That's
fan
one thing.
base already. Ryan Garcia, like he also Gatorade sponsors him, and also Hummer, the motor vehicle. He's like an AJ because AJ's got Hugo Boss and a few other.
He's done really well marketing himself, hasn't he? You know.
Yeah.
And the females love him. Like you
Well,
know,
look,
so
he
he reminds me of Oscar De La Hoya in the early 90s, where except for the singing, because I know Oscar De La Hoya brought out a CD, whereas Ryan can't sing. Well, Oscar can't sing either. But I don't know, it just reminds me like if he wins against Tank, I don't know, he might be the next face of boxing above.
You know what I
Canelo.
think we should do, Little Penny, is I reckon we should do a video call at 12 p.m. UK time, and then let's see how much, and then we can see how much energy you got then, because that would work out very similar. So let's pick the Tank Davis fight up at about in about 12 hours time, shall we? And anything from you?
No, all good, mate.
Okay, all that we do is thank you all for your contributions. Thank you in the sidebar. Have a good afternoon, Little Penny. Good evening to everyone in the UK. See you on Thursday at 7 p.m. Like, comment, subscribe. Cheers, guys.
Good night, lads.